In the heart of an African village, Amina, a woman who had spent many years in sorrow, gave birth to twin daughters on a stormy night. The winds howled like wolves and the rain fell in torrents, creating an atmosphere of anticipation. Amina's pregnancy had been a miracle in itself. After years of praying and hoping for a child, the heavens had finally granted her wish. Yet, her joy was soon clouded by the mysterious nature of the birth. The villagers gathered to witness the birth, but there was an undeniable tension in the air. The twins' arrival was not just a blessing, it was also seen as an omen. The birth had been accompanied by strange dreams and signs, which led the people to believe that the children were destined for something greater than what their small village could understand. This sense of foreboding soon overshadowed any joy. Amina's husband, Kofi, had been a strong man, the pillar of the village, but he had died unexpectedly, leaving Amina a widow before she even had the chance to raise her children. Rumors spread that his death was linked to the birth of the twins, and some believed the children carried a curse. The villagers, filled with fear and suspicion, began to whisper behind closed doors, questioning the true nature of the twins. The village elders, upon hearing the whispers, called for a meeting. It was decided that Amina and her newborn daughters could not stay. The twins, deemed too powerful and mysterious, were cast out into the wilderness. They were told they were unwanted and dangerous. Amina, devastated by the decision, could not argue. Her heart broke as she kissed her daughters goodbye and left the village she had known her entire life. As Amina walked into the night with her twins in her arms, she whispered words of love and hope. She told them that they were destined for greatness. The elder one will be a queen with wisdom, and the younger one will be a prophet of grace, she murmured. These words, spoken with deep love and hope, would become the foundation of their journey. They would carry the prophecy with them as they faced a harsh and unforgiving world. The wilderness was unkind, and the days that followed were filled with hardship. Amina struggled to find food and shelter for her children. The land seemed barren, and the future seemed bleak. She knew that she had no choice but to keep going. Her love for her daughters kept her alive, even as her strength began to wane. The twins, helpless in their infancy, could only cry for the comfort they could not yet understand. Days turned into weeks, and the harshness of the wilderness took its toll on Amina. Her body grew weaker, but her determination remained strong. She would not let her daughters suffer as she had. As the days stretched on, her thoughts became more focused on survival, but she never stopped whispering words of comfort to her children, reminding them of the destiny. One day, as the sun began to set, casting an orange glow over the horizon, two women appeared before Amina and her twins. Yara and Zainab, both of whom had known the pain of infertility for many years, were searching for something, perhaps for a child to raise or for answers to their own longing hearts. They had heard rumors of the mysterious twins and felt compelled to find them. Yara and Zainab were friends who had grown close over the years due to their shared pain of being childless. They had been married to men who were kind but unable to provide them with children. Their lives had been filled with sadness, and though they had tried everything they could think of, they had never been able to conceive. When they heard whispers of the twins born under such strange circumstances, they decided to find them. The two women, weary from their own journey, found Amina and her daughters in the wilderness. They were shocked by the sight before them: Amina, a woman who had clearly been suffering for weeks, and the two beautiful twin girls in her arms. Yara and Zainab immediately saw something in the twins, an ethereal quality that drew them in. Their hearts softened, and they knew they could not leave the children behind. Without hesitation, Yara and Zainab took the twins into their arms. They wrapped the children in their own shawls and promised to take care of them. Amina, though exhausted and on the verge of collapse, was filled with a sense of relief. She had no other choice but to trust these women. She could no longer provide for her children as she once had, and she knew that her daughters would be better off in their care. Yara and Zainab carried the twins back to their village. It was a long journey, but the determination kept them going. When they arrived, they were met with surprise and curiosity. The villagers were wary of the twins, but Yara and Zainab were respected women, and they had raised enough children in the village to know how to care for them. The twins were adopted as their own, and the women vowed to raise them with love and care. As the years passed, the twins grew strong. Amara, the elder twin, was an inquisitive and intelligent child. She was quick to learn and often amazed Yara and Zainab with her ability to solve problems that even the adults found difficult. Amina, the younger twin, had a calm and soothing presence. She seemed to understand the emotions of others and would often comfort those around her with a simple touch or kind word. Despite the differences, the twins were inseparable. They grew up in a world of love and acceptance, completely unaware of the true origins. Yara and Zainab raised them as if they were their own daughters, nurturing them with the care and attention they had always longed to give. The village embraced the twins, and they became beloved figures in the community. Amara and Amina, though unaware of the prophecy spoken by their mother, had always felt a sense of purpose. As they grew older, Amara's intelligence and wisdom began to shine. People from all over the village sought her advice on matters both personal and political. She had a sharp mind and an ability to see the truth in any situation, no matter how complicated. Amina, on the other hand, had developed an innate spiritual connection. Her presence was calming, and many villagers turned to her for comfort when they faced difficult times. She had a way of listening to people that made them feel heard and understood. There was an aura of grace about her that could not be explained, but it was impossible to deny. The twins grew into young women, each of them possessing a unique strength. They were beautiful, wise, and graceful, and their beauty was matched only by their inner qualities. The villagers admired them, and it was not long before rumors spread about their exceptional gifts. Some believed the twins were destined for greatness, though they could not explain how or why. One day, a wealthy and kind-hearted farmer named Abassi visited the village. Abassi had heard stories of the beautiful and wise twins, and he decided to meet them. When he laid eyes on Amara and Amina, he was captivated by their beauty and intelligence. He felt an immediate connection to them, as if they were the missing pieces of his life. Over time, Abassi spent more and more time with the twins. He was drawn to their personalities, Amara's sharp mind and Amina's calming presence. As he got to know them, he realized that he was in love with both of them. He admired their strength and grace, and he felt that they were the women he had been waiting for. In a unique and unprecedented move, Abassi proposed to both Amara and Amina. The villagers were shocked by the idea, but they could see the deep love and respect that existed between the three. The twins, though surprised by the proposal, agreed to marry Abassi, and soon the three of them formed a peaceful and harmonious union. Life in the village continued, and the love triangle was accepted by all. As time passed, Abassi began to notice something peculiar. Both of his wives, Amara and Amina, bore identical birthmarks in the same area of their bodies. The birthmarks were small but unmistakable, and they were positioned in the exact same place. Abassi, curious and slightly disturbed by this coincidence, began to wonder if there was something more to the twins' story than he had been told. Troubled by this discovery, Abassi confronted Yara and Zainab, asking them about the birthmarks. At first, the two women were hesitant to speak, unsure of how much to reveal. But Abassi's persistence eventually wore them down, and they confessed the truth. Amara and Amina were, in fact, biological sisters. They had been abandoned by their real mother, Amina, and raised by Yara and Zainab as their own. The revelation shocked Abassi. He had married two women who were sisters, though he had no idea. His love for them had never wavered, but the truth was difficult to digest. Amara and Amina, upon learning the truth, were filled with confusion and sorrow. The knowledge that they had married each other's sister was a heavy burden to bear, and they struggled to understand their new reality. The twins, once confident in their identity, were now engulfed in a sea of doubt. They wondered how they could have lived their lives so unaware of the truth. The bond they shared was now tainted by the revelation, and they were unsure of how to move forward. The love they had for Abasi seemed to be overshadowed by the weight of the truth. In the days that followed, the twins grew distant from Abasi. They withdrew into themselves, unable to process the complex emotions they were experiencing. They questioned everything they had known about their lives, about their past, their identities, and their place in the world. They had been raised as sisters, but now they were unsure of what that meant. Abasi, however, refused to let them suffer in silence. He remained patient and loving, never once showing anger or frustration. He understood that the truth had come as a shock, and he knew that the twins needed time to process everything. He continued to shower them with love, reminding them that their bond was still strong, no matter what had happened. Slowly, Amara and Amina began to heal. They realized that their love for each other, and for Abasi, had not changed. The truth was painful, but it was not something they could undo. They began to accept their new reality and come to terms with the fact that they were sisters who had unknowingly married the same man. As they worked through their emotions, the twins began to rediscover the strength they had always carried within them. They had been raised to be strong women, and they were not going to let their past define them. With Abasi's unwavering support, they found the courage to move forward and rebuild their lives. The twins decided to search for the biological mother, Amina. They felt that understanding their mother's story would help them make sense of their own. The journey took them across distant lands, through villages and deserts, as they searched for any clue that might lead them to their mother. Finally, after many months of searching, the twins learned the truth. Amina, their biological mother, had died shortly after they were cast out of the village. She had sacrificed everything for their safety and had never stopped loving them. The news hit the twins hard, but it also gave them the closure they had been seeking. They mourned their mother's loss deeply, but instead of falling into despair, they found peace in the knowledge that she had loved them with all her heart. They realized that her sacrifice had been for their future, to ensure that they would survive and grow into the women they had become. With heavy hearts, the twins returned to their village, where they had been raised by Yara and Zainab. They were greeted with open arms, and the love they had once known in that village returned to them. Abasi, too, was there to support them, standing by their side as they began a new chapter in their lives. The prophecy that had been spoken to them on the day of their birth seemed to have come to fruition. Amara, the wise queen, had become the voice of reason and wisdom for the people of the village. Amina, the prophet of grace, had become a spiritual guide for those who sought comfort. Together, they began to lead the village in ways that reflected their unique gifts. They used their wisdom and grace to help the community, offering advice and comfort to those in need. They knew that their mother's prophecy had been fulfilled, not through power or status, but through love and unity. The twins, now stronger and wiser than ever before, realized that the true strength lay not in their bloodline or their birthmarks, but in the love they had for each other and for Abasi. They had faced hardships, but they had emerged stronger because of them. Abasi, once the man who had unknowingly married two sisters, became the foundation of their new life. His love had never wavered, and he continued to support the twins as they embraced the destiny. Together, they formed a family that was founded on love, trust, and mutual respect. Over time, the village came to accept the twins for who they truly were, wise women, filled with grace, who had overcome great challenges. Their story became one of hope and inspiration for those who had suffered in silence. The twins no longer felt burdened by the past. They had found peace in their journey, and they knew that their mother's words were true. They were destined for greatness. They had embraced their roles as leaders in their village, and they had built a life filled with love, happiness, and purpose. Amara and Amina, the queens of wisdom and grace, lived their lives with humility and compassion. They used the gifts to make the world a better place, and they never forgot the struggles that had shaped them into the women they had become. Their bond, unbroken by the past, remained the greatest strength. And with Abasi by their side, they continued to build a future based on the love and unity they had always shared.